Running a marathon taught me 3 massive life lessons. First, here's why I even decided to do one in the first place. Running a marathon was never on my goal list. You know, some people dream about doing it for years. I literally had never even considered it. So the question remains, why the fuck would I do one? Back in February of 2023, I was visiting Dubai to see if it was a place I'd like to move my business and my personal residency. When I was there, my friend texted me saying, hey, half marathon in a month from now, you in. I originally said, nah, not enough time. I had never really run more than 10 or 11k, which is like 5 miles, and I basically made excuses. He said, nah bro, all good, come on, let's do it. And I said, why not? The reason I said why not was because coming into 2023, I realized that I needed to spend more time away from business. I needed to spend more time on actual real life goals apart from just numbers and money on a screen. I think over the last couple of years, I'd lost touch with hobbies, things that I did just because I liked doing them, not because they were gonna somehow impact my business. But unknowingly, this has still given me massive life lessons that also impacted my business. So I signed up to the race. We have about 1 month to prep for it. Keep in mind, I've never run more than 10k in my life. My friend gives me a rough training plan. I do 2 to 3 practice runs a week and we nailed the half marathon. I completed in 1 hour 47 minutes. I was pretty happy with that, and it was the longest distance I had ever run. The day I finished the half marathon, he asked me, would you ever do a full marathon? Don't even speak to me about doing another race or running more long distance, at least for a couple days. Funnily enough, that day, as I'm in the shower cleaning myself after the hours of sweat that was baked into me from the race, I started thinking, yeah, I'd probably do another one. In the coming days, I get a text from my brother. He says, just signed up for the full marathon in June. And I started to think, what if I tag along? Right, I just did a half. What if I go ahead and push myself and do a full, but I do it with him? So my main motivation wasn't to do the marathon, it was to do it with him. I thought it would be a really cool experience for the two of us to have as brothers. So instead of jumping right in, what I decided to do was I would follow his training for a week of marathon prep. And if it seemed manageable, if it seemed like something I would enjoy, I would do the full marathon. So I said yes, and with less than 2 months of training, we got it done. Couple of issues along the way, couple of niggles, bit of a knee issue, but we did it. So here are the 3 life lessons that I got from the marathon. Number 1, slow and steady completes the fucking race. So me and my brother have this pace set out that we're gonna maintain for the whole race. I mean, we're not gonna go slow and then go fast. We're pretty much gonna go the same pace for 4 hours. Keep in mind, this is our first marathon. We've not been big runners, so we were happy with the pace we set out. From the moment we left, there were people absolutely dashing past us. I mean, there was guys my age that didn't look as fit as me, looked a little bit out of shape, that were pushing past me. And obviously as a human, the doubt starts to creep in. I started thinking, am I just not ready for this? Am I going too slow? Am I tricking myself? But we stuck to the plan. And when we get to about kilometer 30, where there's about 12 kilometers left, a bunch of these same guys that went out and sprinted near the start stopped running and started to walk. So by going slow and steady and sticking to the pace that we set, we actually finished ahead of the people that were pushing it to the limit. So that's lesson number 1. Because life, business, this journey we're on, it's obviously not a sprint, it's a marathon. Chances are you're gonna be here for the next 10 years or more, maybe even 50, 60 years. Feeling like you have to have every single piece of your life figured out right now is good to push you on and to get things done, but you do have your whole life to figure this out. Lesson number 2 is listen to your body. Now look, I don't mean if you're doing a marathon and you get tired, stop running. Because there's a fine line between listening to your body and just not pushing through something that your body can push through. What I mean is, when you're 30 kilometers into the race and you feel like you're gonna poop yourself, simply because you've had too many of these gels, right? They're a mix of carbs, electrolytes, caffeine, and sugar, then you should probably stop taking the gels. So here's the lesson. When I researched how to prep for this marathon, what I should fuel with on the day, the rule of thumb I was told to follow was to take 1 of these gels every 30 minutes. And that's exactly what I did. So at kilometer 30, I've probably had about 6 of these gels already. Now, apart from having this small coffee, I am not a big caffeine guy. So the mix of the nerves of the race, the carbs and the sugar, the race itself, and then the caffeine on top completely fucked my stomach. I mean, this thing was like a tumble dryer. I went from feeling like I'm gonna poop myself to I'm gonna get sick literally every 20 seconds. And this lasted for about 5 miles. A very fucking long time. So at that point I decided that I'm not going to take any more gels. I'm going to scrap this rule that I've been told to follow, and by doing so it would mean that to finish the race would be a lot more difficult because I wouldn't have the carbs in my body to keep my muscle ready for running. So the lesson is to listen to your body and to know what's best for you, not what's best for everybody else. I knew in that moment my best solution here is to not follow the advice and then potentially poop my pants and feel absolutely terrible. Instead, I'll just not take any gels and I'll deal with the consequences, which is the fact that my legs were cramping quite a lot near the end. So what got you from A to C is not necessarily going to be the thing that gets you from C to E. The path that you started doesn't have to be the path that you continue on. That's my analogy. I had to change my strategy throughout the race. And lesson number 3 is stick to your damn word. This lesson came full circle twice during this marathon. One during the race and one during prep. About 3 weeks out from the race, both me and my brother sat down, spoke to each other, expressed our doubts about how we didn't feel like we were ready. We weren't getting the necessary mileage in that we were meant to get in each week. And most of that was stemming from issues we both had. He had a foot issue and I had a knee issue. I had done 2 weeks of physio where I literally couldn't do any runs, so I lost out on 2 weeks out of the 2 months of training that I had. And I'll be honest, at that point, 3 weeks out, for 5 minutes or so, I thought we were potentially going to drop down to the half marathon. Then literally out of nowhere on that call, I just had this wave where I couldn't ignore it, and I just literally said to my brother, no, we're doing it. Like, we are doing this, right? We cannot back out now. Imagine the pain of regret. Imagine what we would feel if we did the half and on the day we felt like we could have done more. We're going to feel absolutely terrible. And that pain of regret would be greater than what we would feel if we went for the full marathon and maybe we got a small injury. That pain of regret would outweigh that times 10. So that's what we did. We continued on and we did it. And the second part of this lesson is that when we started this race and when we committed to doing this, again, my whole reason was not that I was a big marathon guy, it's that he was doing one and I wanted to do it with him. Not we both start and maybe both finish. I mean, we both start, stay, stick together and finish together. And that's what we did. Because when I had my little episode where I thought I was going to poop my pants, I told him, go on, go ahead. And he said, no, of course not. We said we wouldn't. I'm sticking with you. And it's kind of weird. It's actually kind of emotional as I say this. Like, it brings up this crazy sense of emotion in me. Because then at the end of the race, my brother gets a stitch about 5 miles out from the finish. And I mean, like, this is a bad stitch. Like, he's gasping for air, short, sharp breaths. And he was in the pain cave, right? The pain cave is when, like, you literally don't want to say anything and you just grunt. You just go left foot, right foot, grunt, grunt. And he said to me during that time, go on. I said, no, of course not. It's not what we're going to do. So I stuck with him and we finished together. And even as I say this, it literally brings up so much emotion. It's actually insane. One of the best days of my life, one of the best experiences, and so many life lessons. I mean, I'm going to pull all of this into my business, to make more money, to grow, to build my brand, and to continue doing this because this is a marathon, not a sprint. But also for my life, I think it really has given me this whole other perspective on how to approach life, how to get the most out of it, and the importance of our values. That's the story. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you in the next one.